Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good Saturday morning to you. It's a little earlier than normal, but we're glad to be here. I'm joined by Mr. Rodney Newple. Rodney, it's been a while since we've talked. How are you?
It is. It is. It has been a long time. I'm good. How are you this morning? It's nice out this morning. A little bit chilly, but nice weather. Better weather than we've been getting, and I think it's better weather than we will be getting. Sounds like some storms coming in the next couple of days. So yeah, I'm doing good this morning. Got my 10-year-old off to a camp at 7 in the morning, so I'm ready to rock and roll. One out the door, two left.
10-year-old off to a camp at 7 in the morning. What camp are we talking about?
Yeah, he's in Boy Scouts. Something I never did.
Oh,
I never was a Boy Scout and have no idea, but he enjoys it. And the one thing about Boy Scouts that I probably needed to do, like they're disciplined. They know how to do stuff. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So shout out to him, Jonah. 7 o'clock Boy Scout camp. They're heading over to Canton or somewhere this morning. So uh,
I
you'll be gone all day.
I was in Cub Scouts
Okay.
for probably about 4 years or so, about right around there, and it was all right. And definitely not my cup of tea to where I'm at now, but hey, it's experience. Had some
Yeah.
friends in there, so made it
Yeah.
worthwhile.
I personally probably wouldn't like it, but I have vowed to not let my son be just like me. Just don't do it. Don't do it, son. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Do something else. So he enjoys it. He also plays some sports, but he enjoys the scouting. So that's where he's at this morning.
Well, hey, it's good to have you back on the airwaves here on the Sports 2.0 network. As you can see, you're still living off that national championship hangover. The
Right.
Kansas Jayhawks get it done. I mean, what a season for them. And, really, I felt all year there wasn't a clear-cut favorite, and they never sat in the number one spot all year, but they got the job done in March.
Yeah, it was one of those things where there was a handful of best teams, and it really was who could get the job done 6 straight in March, and that's not easy. Championships are not easy, but they were. And I wouldn't call their path overly difficult. I wouldn't also call their path a cakewalk. I mean, they did beat several Big East and several ACC teams, so it's not like they played big majors all the time, but they got some luck. Iowa got beat early on. That was a team I was really concerned about for the Jayhawks. Villanova's injury, of course, was kind of a good one for them in the Final Four. And then, of course, a lot of things went well in the Carolina game. The Baycott injury, Love went down. Manek got hurt a little bit. So I've always said winning a championship at any level, any sport, you got to have a little luck. And the Jayhawks did that. But they also played pretty well a lot of the tournament. A lot of the tournament. I mean, that second half in three of their last 4 games, the second half they were absolutely dominant, and that's what they did to come back and beat Carolina.
Yeah, that championship game reminded me a lot of that Miami game where it
Yep.
didn't play too well in that first half, and then the second half, I mean, from the start, they just dominated them, and they were down, 15, 16 at the half, and within, before the first TV timeout, they've already got it down to about 6 points.
Yeah, and I always tell those few people obviously that didn't watch it. Like, what happened with that game? And I just described to them down 15 at half after taking a 7-0 lead to start the game,
Mm-hmm.
down 15 at half, and then at the 11-minute mark, they're tied.
Right.
So they got it from 15-0 in 9 minutes. I mean, but if you look at it, Carolina got it from down 7 to up 15 in 15 minutes. So it was a major game of runs, hit shots, play a little defense. I mean, the one thing I think, and you know this well, I mean, you were quite young when Self was at Illinois, but the one thing Self's teams did obviously is they can guard, and he found a way to get his guys to guard. And I think that's a big thing in college basketball because athletes are great, athletes are
Mm-hmm.
awesome, but if you don't guard, you're not going to win in March. You're not going to win the big championship in March. All the teams that have won it recently have found ways to guard, and they guarded when they needed to, and then got a little luck. Carolina missed some shots they should have made, got some injuries, but they guarded late, and that was a big key for them.
Now I'll ask you, what are kind of your expectations coming forward with the NCAA and violations?
It's hard to tell, man. It is hard to tell. I mean, you look at all these programs, and like, has Arizona been punished for Sean Miller?
Right, not really.
Yeah, I mean, they fired him.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I can say is the University of Kansas, when when this went down, they doubled down and gave Bill Self a lifetime contract and also put in the lifetime contract that any violations that occurred during that period, he could not be punished for by the school. Now, the NCAA can punish him, obviously, but the school can't fire him or suspend him or fine him for those. I think they're fairly confident that the yes, there might be some punishments, whether because here's the deal: nobody really knows what's going on behind the scenes of these places.
Right.
They really don't. Self will probably get suspended. I just don't understand how you could take away this championship, though. None of those guys on this year's team were part of that. Not any of them. It
Right.
was the Silvio de Sousa, and so Chattanooga should be punished, right? I mean, he played there, but it was those guys. And I mean, if you look at the Kansas roster, like those are 2-star recruits. I mean, Ochai Abaji was a 2-star recruit. Christian Braun was a white kid from middle of Kansas. Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't have to pay him thousands of dollars. Anyways, yes, they probably cheated. I think a lot of programs cheat. I just don't think you can take away this championship no matter what. I mean, this is not the same group. Anyways, kind of soapbox.
You know what they say: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So hey,
I mean, I would turn it back to you. Like, is Sky coming to Illinois without any benefits?
right. Well, and see, here's the thing. Now, if whatever happened to Kansas, if this happened currently, it'd be perfectly legal. I mean, obviously, you still,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's certain rules and regulations that you can't do even with NIL, but in the grand scheme of things, Kofi got suspended last year, for 3 games for selling a jersey or whatnot.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So,
And do you think Io and Kofi came without benefits ahead before NIL came?
right, exactly.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, and yeah, that goes for any probably Power 5 school.
Zion just decided he wanted to go to Duke.
Right now, granted, Duke's the Taj Mahal of
but
again, yes,
somebody that has been cheating before and is still cheating is offering Zion money, and so he's going to go to Duke and not take that money because they're the Taj Mahal. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I think a lot of these guys have been paid for a long time. Well, Will Chamberlain said he was paid. I mean, Will Chamberlain's like 75 years old. Yeah, they've been cheating a long time.
What are your thoughts on the transfer portal in college basketball? Is it good for college basketball? Is it bad? Because the whole everyone's so excited about Sky Clark and all that, and recruiting I just can't get up for, like a lot of the Illini fans and a lot of Illini Twitter, just because with the recruiting trail now, if he comes in, he doesn't play well, Illinois fans are just going to berate him on Twitter, and then he's going to want to leave like Curbelo did. Or, it's a mediocre to good year and he's able to leave, and he does. You're playing a year, but it's almost, free agency at this point.
Yeah, recruiting has become difficult, and I'm the same way. Like I don't hardly know who's on the Kansas roster until the season starts. Like I don't really hardly follow it. I mean, I see the stuff on Twitter, and unfortunately, being where not necessarily unfortunately, but being where I'm from, obviously I see more of your local team tweets than I do Jayhawks tweets because I don't follow a lot of the Kansas insiders as far as the recruiting because I again don't care. I don't. I want to know who's on their roster in October, and that's who we're rolling with. And now, do I want Bill Self to go get the best players possible? Yeah, absolutely. But I trust that he's going to do that job, and I don't have the time or effort to like look into these guys and say, oh, he's a 4-star recruit and he scored 38 at some AAU event. I don't care. I've seen these AAU events. It don't matter. It don't matter. So yeah, I mean, the transfer portal is interesting. I like the concept of it, but it's gotten out of hand. Obviously, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt your Bradley Braves more than it helps. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But all it takes for them is to go get that diamond in a rough stud that left somewhere else, and now they're the benefit of it. But any remotely good player for your Bradley Braves now has that possibility of leaving.
Terry Roberts.
Yeah, I'm better than Bradley now. Whether he is or not, I don't know. I mean, ISU's losing guys, so yeah, I like the premise of it. I like the idea of it. I still wish it could kind of revert to like if your coach leaves, if your coach is fired, if obviously it used to be the hardships, if you had a death in the family, and I know those are hard because then you got, well, my great grandpa's granddaughter's brother's sister died. I'm going to move across country. Like, that's bullshit. Like, that's not happening. But death and immediate death in the family. Okay, you need to transfer. We'll let you transfer. But people are taking advantage of that. That's the problem.
Well, and the problem that we saw with that was the guys like Justin Fields
Yeah.
and Tate Miller were able to transfer right away and be eligible the next year just because they weren't going to play at their certain school. And there were guys, I can't remember the guy's name, but he wanted to transfer back to Virginia Tech because his mom had cancer and was, kind of on her deathbed, if you will. And he wasn't able to get that waiver, that hardship. And it's just like, really, I mean, what's the, where are we drawing the line here? But, it's college basketball. It's college sports in general now. And, it's crazy to see the direction it's going.
I really try to stay I like the action on the court or out on the field. And, I try to stay out of my lane otherwise. Now, obviously, Twitter and Facebook and all of that bring up the recruiting and, it's fun to bicker about or whatever. But like in the end, like I want to see the games.
Right.
But one more thing that really is throwing me off here is like, because of COVID, now we got like these 7th year guys. Like, I mean, is that going to continue? Like, when's that come to an end? Like, I mean, why is Jalen Coleman Lands? Like, he's like 27 years old. I mean, Mitch Lightfoot's been at Kansas like forever. I mean, I think he was there when Jonah was born. So I mean, these aren't 4-year programs obviously anymore. I know they get the 4 years of eligibility, but now you get the COVID year. So I'm just so confused where we're at. Is that going to continue? Do they get a 6th year? I don't know.
Well, now everybody basically has the 5th year built in if they want. They can take, when they transfer, they get that immediate eligibility, whatnot. So it's almost like a, whether you decide to redshirt or not, if you are redshirting. But if you are a guy that plays and say, hey, this isn't for me, you're not losing that year of eligibility. Yeah. So it's depending on how you are in that, one season, depends on how many years that you get. But yeah, the COVID year, I would assume it's going to stop with, like if you weren't in college when that happened, you don't get that eligibility.
I wouldn't think. And do kids redshirt as much anymore? I don't hear about red shirts as much.
I don't think kids are redshirting as much because of that extra year or that out year after you transfer or whatnot.
Makes sense.
But, I think there might still be some kids that might redshirt because there's a couple on Illinois, I think, that might.
Right. I can't keep track of what the rules and regulations are in college basketball. And all goes back to what I kind of started with is like, I want to see the games. Tell me when the games start in October, and I love college basketball from October to March, but I can't stand it from this point on because I just don't know what's going on. Like, I did read an article the other day. I read is kind of a loose term. I looked at an article the other day. It was like the top 50 transfers, of these guys that are going. And I looked at some of those names. I mean, that Shannon kid from Texas Tech's a really good player. I mean, there was really good players. I mean, I think Andre Cabello is a solid player. And I'm just like, this is totally going to change some of these programs. I mean, like, where did Cabello go? St. John's? Like, now they're probably competitive. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's hard to even keep track. And again, October to March, I love college basketball.
Hey, I want to get in the Masters real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Scotty Scheffler leads by 5 at 8 under. Lots of golf still to play. Lots of golf still to play. So this one's far from over, but got a 5-shot lead, I believe, on Shane Lowry and Hideki and Charles Schwartzel. Those guys are down at 3 under, and Sung Jae Im as well. So
I think Lowry's hanging around there too at 3 under.
Yep.
But so the thing about Scheffler, and I know I'll let you do most of the golf talking here, but if I remember, he bogeyed 1, he bogeyed 3, and then from that point, I think he had 6 birdies in his remaining 16 holes. So he obviously finished strong. Not a ton of birdies out there. So, but it can 8. If he stays at 8 under, is he going to win it?
I mean, I think if he stays at 8 under, he can definitely, unless someone goes out and shoots 3 or 4 under today and pulls it close going into Sunday, you might get a little bit of those Sunday nerves coming in. But I'm going to be honest, normally I am from as soon as Sunday night gets over. That next week I'm all Masters. Like Monday, I'm watching Masters at the range. I'm dialed in, and I think it's because of baseball this year being opening day on
Yeah,
that same week. I've barely watched a lick of the Masters. I've been keeping up with it, seeing who's leading and whatnot, and who's going to miss a cut. And but for whatever reason this year, I don't know, I'm not into it as much. I wasn't expecting much out of Tiger, so it's great to see him back. He makes the cut, and it is kind of ironic that the guy was in a horrific car accident. The fact that he's even playing 14 months later is incredible
yeah.
in itself, and he's beating a lot of these pros
Oh
still.
yeah.
And it's, I mean, the Jordan Spieth, the Bryson DeChambeau. Speaking of which, Bryson DeChambeau, when he called Augusta National, 3 years ago, a par 68 or
Yeah.
whatever for himself, and since then he's like 48 over par.
Yeah. Yeah, he has not played very well. What was he? I mean, at some
He was
point,
plus 12.
yeah, I was gonna say at one point he was nearing the
Got
double digits, so he
a
did get to
second round 80 yesterday. I could do that.
at Augusta. Yeah, I don't know, man.
And
But
it is an interesting thought.
Jordan Jordan Spieth choking, double bogeying 18, which at that point, obviously he wasn't. I mean, you don't know what the cut's going to be at that point, but that's what the cut line was. He was 4 over, double bogeyed, went to 6 over. Yikes, that hurts. Hurts to not make the cut. Justin Thomas is I really like Justin Thomas, but he played really well. But he's going to have to. I mean, so he's got to shoot about 5 under today to have a chance because he's 7 back. He goes 5 under. Scotty goes even. Now he's 2 back going in tomorrow. That's one to look for, and the other one is Dustin Johnson to look for. He goes 4 or 5 under today. It's on. It's on. And what I would like for the viewing pleasure is like Scotty to go even, JT and DJ to go 4 or 5 under, maybe Hideki go 2 or 3 under, and those 4 just battle it out tomorrow within like 2 strokes. But what's probably going to happen is Scotty's going to go about another 4 or 5 under, and it's going to be over. It should be, I mean, it's not, I shouldn't call it boring, but it won't be as entertaining TV tomorrow.
Right. And Justin, the problem with him is that he's a guy that has to play well in the first 2 days, especially at a major,
Yeah.
because when you look at his weekend scores, he's got one of the lowest scoring averages on the weekends in majors alone, especially on Saturday. I mean, he's got tied the U.S. Open record or major record for lowest score on a Saturday. So, he's a guy that's got to make a move on the first 2 days because if he finds himself too far back, kind of close to where he is now, he's kind of playing from behind the 8 ball. So, but hey, tomorrow will be here. We'll probably crown a new Masters champion, get a new green jacket, and we'll see who it is. Is it gonna be Scotty Scheffler? Is he gonna falter a little bit today? We'll find out. But we'll get a little MLB around the horn here. Some things that I don't get about the MLB. I know that they're trying to, euthanize the game a little bit. They're trying to get it to the younger crowd. They're trying to, make it more acceptable within the public eye. And I don't get what they're doing because Apple TV, really? If that's your plan of getting to the younger generation, I mean, if we didn't, purchase a new Apple product recently, we wouldn't have Apple TV. We only have it because it's free for 6 months or whatever. I think that they're trying to grow the game, but they're just not doing it in the right way. The Field of Dreams, in my opinion, that's a great idea to grow the game. Now, granted, those tickets are way too expensive, and so it's all your top 1% buying out those tickets and whatnot. So, what are you going to do? But the other thing is, I mean, with all the pitch clocks and everything, if you weren't a fan at 3 hours and 10 minutes, you're not going to be a fan at 2 hours and 55 minutes. I mean, it is what it is. Right.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I'm still dinosaur and I get Bally. So I have Bally Sports. So I'll see the Cardinals here. And I do the $2.99 MLB radio so I can hear games. But yeah, that whole Apple TV, not a big fan here either. Just seems like they're always finding, the YouTube game of the week and all that stuff. Like, just show me the game. And but to be honest, Colt, no, I can't sit and watch a lot of baseball outside the Cardinals. Watch the Cardinals, but even at that, like that opening day, and I know you were there, so it was different. But that opening day took forever, and that's a long time for. I mean, so part started at 1 because of the festivities, or 1:30 or
Right.
whatever it came on, but like it didn't get over till 7. And so for like grown dudes that have things to do, we all do. Like that's a lot of time. I mean, that's a lot of time, and you're doing
Yeah.
that 160 times a year. Now, granted, again, it's not going to be 5 hours; it's going to be
Right.
more like 3 hours. But I just find it, in general, I have a hard time sitting and watching a 3 hour baseball game. Like I'll watch a couple innings, go outside, or get something done, have it on my radio, come back, sixth, seventh inning. I rarely can find myself watching 3 straight hours. So if there was a way they could, I don't know, because that maybe that's I don't know what I'm trying to get to here, but like, are people watching all baseball games? Like, I don't know. I wonder about that.
And I think that's the wonderful thing about baseball is no matter what, I mean, it's always on from March till October, possibly
Yeah,
November. And it's kind of that thing to where if you miss a few innings, you're really not missing a whole lot. But I feel like the direction that we're going, and they're trying to make the game more for the youth. You're banning the shift next year. You're making the bases larger. We've got buzzers in our hats and helmets now to relay signs. I mean, at this point, I said on Thursday, at this point, if we're going to ban the shift, we're going to make the bases larger. You might as well as make sure that we with the runner on second, in the 10th inning, you might as well as make sure everybody gets juice boxes and snacks and gold medallions after the season, because hey, everybody's a winner, right?
yeah, yeah. The buzzers are weird. The signals. I don't know. I was trying to explain. I mean, obviously, like the younger generation, like they get that. They're like, "Oh, that's cool. Why aren't we doing? Why weren't we doing that for years?" And then, like the older generation, like me, I'm like, "Well, that's not what
Well,
you do. That's not baseball. That's
no,
you do.
and
You put your fingers down. And you do the signs. Like
exactly.
that's so.
And
Yeah,
my problem is I'm like such a traditionalist when it comes to baseball. I'm such a get off my lawn old man. In terms of baseball, and again, if you're trying to make the game shorter by 15, 20 minutes, you're still not going to be a fan. You're
right.
not going to be a true fan. And it's just something that bugs me that the MLB is trying to do, and it's just the game that I love is changing, and it's
Yeah,
hard for me to accept it.
right. Yeah, I hear you.
A few games today. Cubs at Brewers. I did not see a line for this one. Oh, here we go. So Brewers -1.5 with Brandon Woodruff on the mound. Excuse my landline phone going off here. You hear
See,
that right?
that's how we know you're. Yeah, that's how we know you're old school. Is you got a landline phone.
Welcome to Metamora.
I guess. Yeah.
You want to know the biggest news in Metamora probably for about the last 6 months? Yesterday, the name of the grocery store in town changed, and people are flipping out.
Yeah.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Metamora.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. You don't change grocery stores because, yeah. But it's going to be like, I mean, it's going to be like the Sears Tower, though, right? Like, it's always going to be the Sears Tower. Like, you're still
It's
going to
always
you're going to go to the IGA or whatever it is,
it's
right?
always going to be IGA. It's not
Right.
going to be Kirby Foods, who they've been
Right.
owned by for about the last 25 years. So
Yeah. You're going to go to the IGA.
exactly. So as I was saying, Cubs Brewers today. Yesterday got rained out, so they're just playing one game today. Brandon Woodruff on the mound versus Justin Steele. You got Brewers -1.5. Over under at 7.5 with the Cubs money line at +140. Anything you
I mean,
like in there?
I mean, maybe take another shot at the Cubs.
I
I mean,
I think this Brewers squad their pitching squad is really due for a little bit of regression this year, and you saw that on opening day. Corbin Burns did not allow a walk for the entire month of April last year, and he allowed 2 in the first inning on
yeah.
opening day. Granted,
Walk the
it
lead off
was
guy.
49 degrees and raining, but again, this was a top pitching staff in baseball that really came out of nowhere last year, and here they are.
Is Justin Steele any good?
I
I
don't
mean,
know, to be
right.
honest.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm wondering here. Wondered if Justin Steele is actually any good. He finished fairly strong last year, went 7 innings on September 30th. Yeah, I mean, so in this type of situation, second game of the year, if you're looking at that big number, the minus whatever it is, like I think I'll take the plus on this side and say Cubs are at home. We don't really know what we're going to get out of the Cubs. We really don't know what we're going to get out of Justin Steele. If you're going to get Brandon Woodruff, you might want to do it early in the year. I would probably side towards taking the plus side here, and I think it's a better value. I think the Cubs could certainly win this home game. Baseball's hard to bet on, dude. It's so hard. It's so hard. Like I had the White Sox all day yesterday. Like White Sox. They stacked right-handers against a left-handed pitcher. Oh, White Sox in great shape. They get 3 early runs. They're just cruising through the game. And freaking bullpen can't get guys out. So that's part of the problem with betting on baseball, full games. And that's why I would advocate to new bettors, look at live betting a little bit. Just look into it and understand it. Obviously, don't just start diving in and putting hundreds of dollars down on it. But look at it. Look how odds move during the game. Watch a game or follow a game on your phone. Kind of get the flow of things. Maybe it's an over-under that you like. Ooh, I think this game's going to, a starting pitcher, labors but didn't give up very many runs. So the number stays fairly low because it is like 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, hey, man, this bullpen's gas. I mean, they're going to give up as soon as that bullpen comes in. And so hammer the over. Now, you might lose, but you're going to lose bullpen games. I literally was like White Sox. I just love the White Sox. And they had good value, like minus 135, which is pretty good value for a team that's supposed to win the AL. Bullpen. It is. And that's what happened. Giants did the same thing yesterday. Bullpen blew it for them. Red Sox bullpen, right? Didn't they blow it? Yeah. So I would take the Cubs as the underdog.
Speaking of the White Sox, they play again today after a wild
cutting out on me.
And then they don't. And here we are. That's just a brutal, but it's game 1 of 162. It's a long season. They'll be all right. But minus 1.5 today against the Tigers. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Sox. They are facing
Casey Mize. Casey Mize.
Okay.
Yeah. So minus 1.5, but that's plus 120. You get positive money for that 1.5. This could be a type of situation where the Sox do blow the doors off early. I just said, take the underdog in that one. The problem with the Tigers is they don't go away. They just kind of are there. And if you look at that Tigers lineup, that's not bad.
No, it's not.
It's not bad. I don't know if Casey Mize is any good. It was the same story with Justin Steele. I'm not sure there. But, Javi Baez, we know what we're going to get out of them. Miguel Cabrera is a Hall of Famer. Candelario is decent. Scope is decent. Meadows is there. So, in saying that, though, I think I would take what I find value here, and I would take the White Sox minus 1.5, win by 2 runs or more, and get plus 120 money on it.
Yep.
Again, this is a team that's supposed to win the American League. I'm going to take the White Sox on the road.
Yeah, the White Sox are my team, I think, in the AL this year. But the Tigers are a team that I've been very high on, and even in my power rankings that Tanner and I did, I picked them finish second in the division. I think that there's enough there in their lineup to really carry them, and the fact that they just won't go away. I really like them there this year. So I think that division will be interesting, especially between Minnesota and Detroit, to see who gets that second spot and possibly a shot at the playoffs. Our last game that I have, Cardinals Pirates. I mean, come on. You said betting is hard. Well, betting is hard unless you're playing the Pirates, because not only, I said on Thursday, not only did it signify the start of the season, but if you're a Pirates fan, it signified the end of the season, because my goodness, are they just terrible. The most Pirates thing that I've ever seen. First inning, they go 1-2-3. Second inning, Dylan Carlson, or bottom of the first, Dylan Carlson leads it off with the longest double you'll ever see in your entire life. Just a bloop.
Right.
Their third baseman, tries to make a good play for it, and he hurts himself doing it. Comes out like, a batter later or whatnot. Later in the game, they got a pitcher, comes in, throws like 4 pitches, and just hurts himself. And it's got to be pulled from the game. And I'm like, this is the most Pittsburgh Pirates thing I've ever seen.
It sounded like Bryan was more of a spasm, though, fortunately for him. So I don't know. I don't know as if he'll be in the lineup today, but fortunately, I think he will be back. Mitch Keller. So is Mitch Keller any good? That's the question we got to answer here. Is Mitch Keller any good, and can he slow down the Cardinals offense, who are scoring 9 runs a game?
9 runs a game. That's very good as of right now. Today I'm interested to see. I'm looking at Miles Michaelis. Can he be healthy for an entire season? In 2016, he had his breakout year. He was very good.
Yep.
And can he continue that trend this year? We'll see. Can he kind of help this hurt rotation right now? That would be big because they need to do something.
The answer to Mitch Keller being any good is he finished last year 5-11 with a 6.17 ERA. Mitch Keller is in fact not very good. You can't base numbers completely if he's any good. Cardinals win this one. They go 2-0. I do think they're going to lose one of these 4 because baseball. Tomorrow is Steven Matz may get lit up tomorrow. That might be the issue.
Steven
Matz. I mean, I'm just remembering his one spring training start that I was excited for, and like he was gone like 8 batters later, giving up like 6 runs. I don't even remember.
Yeah, he did finish strong though in his last outing. I will say that.
So there's a guy by the name of Wilson pitching for the Pirates tomorrow, and a guy by the name of Thompson on. It would be cool to have a 4-game sweep to start the season though. Start 4-0 with
the Pirates on Monday too.
It is, yeah. That's weird, isn't it? 1:15 on Monday.
That is weird.
Yeah, so I was trying to explain that to my son yesterday. Again, 10 years old, going to be 11 in June, and I'm like, yeah, opening day. They don't usually play the next day. That's kind of anywhere in the Midwest that typically happens. Right. So I get done talking, and then I'm like, hey. So Friday comes, and I'm like, hey, Jonah, the Cubs got rained out. He's like, what? Cubs play today? And I'm like, oh yeah. They played back-to-back. They're in the Midwest the day after opening day. So, like, what is going on here? Like, why are we sometimes scheduling days off after opening day and sometimes not? And is it up to each individual ball club? Like, do the Cardinals – I know the Cardinals always have that next day off. They just do. That's right. Always been that way. But, like, why did the Cubs – are the Cubs like, you know what, we're okay playing in 38 and rain until it is actually 38 and rain, and then we're not going to play? Like, why are they playing 4 straight days, and the Cardinals Pirates are wrapping around to Monday, and then going into a 2-game series with Kansas City? Like,
right.
And have you seen the Thursday start time for the Cardinals Brewers?
I've not.
4:14 on 4:14. That's kind of cool though. In Milwaukee, it's Milwaukee's home opener. On April 14th, they're starting the game at 4:14, which is a weird Cardinal start time. It's weird.
Yeah, that is very weird. But no, I think, looking at the Cardinals, their front office would be very foolish not to pay their left fielder a lot of money. I mean, it continues to, right off the bat, a home run, an RBI single, 5 RBIs on Thursday afternoon. I mean, your outfield is set for the next 5 years at this point.
Yeah, over under 810 RBIs for Tyler O'Neill this year.
And an MVP.
810 is what he's on pace for. So you going over or under?
I might take the under on that one. I don't know.
810. I think that'd be a record.
I think so.
Yeah, so Tyler O'Neill, how long you lock him up? 5 years?
Yeah. I would say right about there, because that would probably be the time that Bader might be reaching the end of his tenure. O'Neill, if he continues to impress, then yeah, you give him a little bit longer of a contract. But Carlson will definitely be here for probably the next 5 years at least.
And if you can keep Arenado from walking after this year, which let's pump the brakes on people talking about how he might
opt out
walk after this year. Like, okay, he might. But what indication has he ever given that he wants to leave St. Louis? Like, the guy loves playing in St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
I've never once seen him disappointed playing in St. Louis.
No.
Like, he never once has shown that indication. And I know he left Colorado, but he left Colorado after lots of opportunities for Colorado to improve that team, and he just kept staying in Colorado. I'm not calling Nolan Arenado unloyal because he left Colorado. I mean, he didn't have to. The organization said, we'll give you to the Cardinals. Okay, yeah, I'll go to the Cardinals, and let's just throw in $50 million. So, like, I don't know why this keeps being brought up that, oh, Arenado might walk after this year. Yes, let's leave it at that. He might, but it's not likely. It's not likely. I mean, if Paul Goldschmidt bats in the same lineup as he does and walks 4 times a game, Nolan Arenado is staying on that team because Nolan Arenado has every opportunity to drive him in over and over and over and over. He could have
Right.
120 RBIs.
And not only is he going to benefit offensively, anytime Nolan short throws one, no, Paul Goldschmidt is winning him a Gold Glove
vacuums
because it's unbelievable how good he is. And you get a guy like one of his favorite players, Albert, back this year to be a mentor for him. Obviously, he's got Yachty and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's a baseball town. It's always has been and it always will be.
Yeah, I can't get into this. Well, he might leave. Well, yeah, he might. But we got 161 more games, and again, this goes back to the college conversation. Like that kind of stuff. Like I don't care to talk about while the season's going. Like let's get to the World Series. Okay, we lost. Okay, now we can talk about the off season. But I don't like to talk about the off season until it's the off season. I want to see the games.
1:15 first pitch for today for the Cardinals and Pirates. I'll be heading out here shortly for that game. Yeah, I think if I win the first 2, I might just have to make all 162 this year.
Oh, you're going back to St. Louis today?
I am. Because we originally we got the Yachty Waino ticket package, which that was supposed to be the original scheduled game today. So there's like 10 home game starts, for those 2.
Yeah.
But since Jack Flaherty can't stay healthy, shocker, Waino had to be moved up to Thursday. And then, we weren't planning on going to opening day till Albert signed. My dad and I were like, we kind of want to be there for that one. We want to be there for the first game back, the Cardinals uniform. So like Sunday night, I texted him. I said, hey, you want to go? And Monday morning, he texted me, yep, we're going. And so, decided to make a trip out of that one. And then, there's a jersey giveaway today. So, I mean, might as well as go get a Yachty and a Waino jersey today.
It's a both?
Yeah, it's one or the other. You'll get one of the 2.
I'll look for it on eBay next week.
Hey, if my girlfriend's going, who's a Cubs fan, so if you want one, I might have one for you.
Yeah, those will be popular. She can keep it. She'll need something nice to look at this year.
She'll need something, but I want to get into our final segment here, my weekend picks. There's a few picks here that I like this weekend. I like the Cardinals -1.5 today, just because they're playing the Pirates, and the Pirates are very bad. So they won 9-0 the other day. And if you looked at the MLB umpire scorecards, they're back. And the Pirates were a plus 0.89, so almost an entire run. They had the advantage, and they still could not muster a run. So I like St. Louis at -1.5 today. I like Boston money line at +170. Yesterday was a very emotional day. They get off to a hot 3-0 start, and then the Yankees kind of claw their way back. I mean, how bad is that Giancarlo Stanton home run? I mean, barely. I told Tanner, I go, you can take a cast iron pan up the bat at Yankee Stadium and hit a home run.
It's a very Stantonian blast.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the rebound game today for the Red Sox. So I'm expecting a big year out of them. And then finally, plus 1,200 odds for Cameron Smith currently for this weekend. This tournament is far from over. And I think if he can make a run, he's one of the best players on tour this year. He's got 2 wins already, his last one at the Players' Championship. If he can make a run here on the weekend and make things interesting going into tomorrow, him, Scheffler, it's going to be a great Sunday to watch at Augusta. And for Smith, with those odds, I feel like you've got to pick him up.
Yeah, I wonder if the stage is too big for him, though. I mean, he's going to have to be perfect.
Right.
To get 6 strokes.
Yeah. And be the second Australian ever to win a green jacket. Obviously, the other one being Adam Scott, who missed the cut. So,
give me Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson?
Give me Dustin Johnson. Going back.
The former champion, the only one to win it in the fall. Don't mind that one bit.
I mean, to be honest, I think Scotty Scheffler is going to win.
Yeah.
But if I'm throwing some dollars down, I would put the Dustin Johnson down there. What is it? 12-1, 13-1, something like that. putting Dustin Johnson. In fact, I may just sprinkle Dustin Johnson, Hideki Matsuyama, and Justin Thomas, and hopefully one of them comes back, and I'd win some money.
Right, exactly. Well, Rodney, it's been fun. I appreciate you getting up early and joining me. We, hopefully don't have to make it too long till the next visit. But
Yeah.
hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, hey, I wanted to send, and I know he's not necessarily watching, but the condolences to our buddy Mr. Matson losing his father this week. I know he doesn't watch us, but we listen to him, and big local hero around here. So Bo Matson passed away, and I know you and I are both friends with him. So our condolences.
Yes, our thoughts and prayers with Jim and his family during this time. And also, hey, I wanted to mention you've got a big little expo coming up here in New York soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, iGaming next. I'll be moderating a panel. I'm not sure what that means. I think I'm refereeing. I think I'm just like introducing the questions, things like that. But I'll be out in New York City, and Colten, I get to see Yankees, Blue Jays from the party box, and then I'm going to extend my trip a little bit. I don't know why my wife lets me do this, but I'm going to extend my trip because the Cardinals are at the Mets after that.
Okay.
So I'm there for this conference Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, the Cardinals come to Citi Field on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'm going to extend it and see the Monday game, and then I'll fly back Tuesday. So be in New York for quite a while. I don't know what I think about that because New York is pretty overwhelming. Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. Like I was ready to be home from Vegas after like day 3 or 4 a couple months ago. Yeah, and New York City doesn't really necessarily compare to Vegas. They don't necessarily compare, but like that's a long time in a big city. So I'm a Manitou. I'm from Manitou. Like I don't belong in New York City. Anyways, yes, we'll have more about that as it's coming up. But looking forward to that conference.
Hey, keep it here. Keep it tuned in on the Sports 2.0 Network. But for us, Colten Kahler, Rodney Newpel, and the Colten Kahler Show, we'll see you next Saturday here on the Sports 2.0 Network.
See you guys.